The quarterback position has been pretty kind to the Boise State Broncos. You had Kellen Moore, who will go down as one of the best quarterbacks in college football history. Then you've also had recent guys such as Brett Rippon, Hank Bachmeier, and Ryan Finley. It seems that the Broncos always get the most out of the quarterback spot, but after Bachmeier started to flatline, the Broncos needed another guy to step up and be great. That is currently what they have found, as their quarterback has been compared to Vince Young. Yes, you heard that right. Air Force's head coach compared this guy to Vince Young, and honestly, this player is living up to the hype. He had an incredible season for Boise State, helped them win a lot of games, and could see himself as an NFL player down the road. In today's video, I'm going to introduce you to Taylen Green. We're going to go through who this guy is, how he got to this point, and why he is so good. But before we get started, we're so close to 100k, so be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to support today's video, turn on post notifications so you never miss when I upload, and let me know what player I can cover next. Now, let's get started. Going back in time, Green spent most of his childhood as the second best athlete in his house. His sister Naya was a baller. She's one of the best basketball players in the nation and originally committed to Louisville back in 2019 before she would later transfer over to Duke. Taylen started to play football at 5 years old and was lighting up defenses from an early age. But his sister's extreme work ethic would eventually rub off on him and impact Taylen in a big way. His dad said, quote, "Taylen, everything came easy to him. When he was young, he didn't really have that drive or that work ethic. But when he got to 7th grade, he flipped the switch and became probably a harder worker than his sister, which is saying a lot." Taylen was born and raised in the city of Allen, Texas, but would make a switch early on. He started his high school career at Allen High School, which is one of the largest in the country, but he would transfer to Louisville just a week before his junior season was set to begin. How would he end up doing with that switch? Well, it would pay off. Things were stacked against him. He barely knew the playbook and had a terrible offensive line in front of him, but he still managed to throw for 2,217 yards with 25 touchdowns and 12 more scores on the ground. He led his team to a 7-4 record and a berth into the state playoffs. His head coach said he was brilliant at making something out of nothing. He said, quote, "He makes you a pretty good coach. Seeing how effortless it takes for him to cover ground while still being able to deliver the ball downfield is impressive. He can do that because he understands what defenses are trying to do." As he became a bigger and bigger recruit, schools were worried about his arm, so bigger programs shied away from him. One quote explains it all. He said, quote, "The recruiting process has been picking up since May. I've been on Zoom calls with Louisville, San Diego State, Wyoming, UTEP, and Central Michigan. Other schools such as Tulsa, Southern Miss, and New Mexico State have also been talking." Yeah, none of these programs were really that big except Louisville, but he eventually sifted through all the schools and settled on Boise State. He committed to head coach Brian Harsin, saying, quote, "It's always been a dream school of mine, and I love the coaching staff here. They're very straight to the point and open to anything. Also, what made me choose Boise was their tradition, and more importantly, we share the same team and individual values. They also have a long history of developing players." It seemed this was a huge get for Boise, but scouts weren't as high on him. According to 24/7 Sports, Green was only a 3-star recruit, the number 79 quarterback, and the 1,223rd best player in the class of 2021. So, how did the underrated quarterback do at Boise? Well, he didn't do much as a freshman, as he appeared in 2 games, not registering a single stat. In 2022, he was going to be stuck behind Hank Bachmeier, but he'd get an opportunity to play early on. After Bachmeier was struggling against Oregon State, Green was thrown into the mix, where he threw for 155 yards and had over 100 yards and 2 scores on the ground. The following week, he had 2 more touchdowns in a road victory over South Dakota State, and after the rough start, Hank Bachmeier decided to quit on the team and enter the portal, and their offensive coordinator was fired. Now the job was Taylen's, and he went off. Against Air Force, he threw for a career-high 227 yards, and then would have an insane game against Colorado State. He threw for 305 yards with 3 combined touchdowns, and then had 2 touchdowns in a close loss to BYU. After that, he had 2 touchdowns in a win over Nevada, 2 more touchdowns in a win over Wyoming, and then had his best game of the season against Utah State. In a game they needed to win to go to the Mountain West title game, Green threw for 220 yards and had 5 combined touchdowns. Boise had now saved their season, and they had punched their ticket to the Mountain West title game. Against Fresno State, he threw for 175 yards with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Unfortunately, that was his worst start of the year, but Green was incredible for a redshirt freshman. He finished the season with 1,905 passing yards with 13 touchdowns, and he also had 500 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. The guy had over 20 touchdowns in just over half a season, led Boise State from a losing record to the Mountain West title game, and has now been compared to Vince Young. Air Force head coach said, quote, "No 2 players are exactly the same, but truly the resemblance of him is to Vince Young. You've got a guy who is 6'5", 215 pounds, and is an incredible talent. Ever since he's gone in there, they've been a completely different team. So yeah, Taylen Green is a freshman phenom for Boise, led them to a terrific season, is getting lofty comparisons, and is the future of this program. They just brought in a new offensive coordinator in Bush Hamden from Mizzou, so I'm curious to see how Green's going to do. I think the future is bright for him, and he has a chance to play on Sundays if he has a big season. It always seems the Mountain West has one of those big-time quarterback prospects come out of nowhere, and I'm going to let you guys know about him early. Watch out for Taylen Green, this guy is a future star. But what do you guys think? If you're a Boise State fan, what do you think of Taylen? Who's another underrated player I can take a look at in my next video? And what player, topic, team, or situation should I cover next? Be sure to let me know down below, leave a like if you want to support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.